Twitch, streaming on Twitch, testing the audio, streaming on Twitch. Twitch. We have audio. All right. Dementia Radio now and recording in 3, 2, 1.
Recorded live on DementiaRadio.org, it's the Funny Music Podcast, brought to you by FuMP.com, where you can download new free comedy songs twice a week. Now, here's your hosts, Devo Spice and the great Luke Ski.
Hey, Devo Spice!
Hey, Luke Ski!
Today on the show we have me!
We have Luke Ski on the show. He's never on the show. Wow!
And also Dead by 28.
Yes, Dead by 28 will be pre-recorded interview coming up later in the show. In the meantime, welcome to episode 702 of the Funny Music Podcast for November 30th, 2023. The title of this week's episode is Hollow Flock. And your job is to work that into our conversations somehow, because I'm a dick. All right. Let's do the catch-up thing.
Let's get caught up with what Devo and Luke have been up to since last week. Or else Devo, if Luke bailed and didn't show up.
Hey, what? Oh, he's right.
So, Luke, what you been up to?
Well, yesterday I went to Disneyland because it was the last day of the year I'd be able to, because the type of the Imagine Key pass that I have has all of December blocked out. So I knew that if I wanted to at least set foot in the park and potentially do any holiday shopping, that I would need to do it. So I had a day off, so I'm like, cool, I'll do a sprint out there. I also used it as an excuse to just sit down and start working on a new creative project that I have been wanting to get to work on. It was, I managed to get a few productive hours of note taking, and it was, it's cool. Like I've talked about it with Kyle on the Tunes podcast, where he calls, like, whenever I go to Disneyland to work on something like that, he calls it, it's like going to a Starbucks to work on your screenplay times a million.
Yes, I remember that.
So, and my one specific thing that I was trying to accomplish as a, Disney fan person was I wanted to see if I could find Ahsoka Tano as one of the, meet and greet characters over in Batuu. So when I went to set myself up to do this, kind of to be at this table and work, I set myself up in a seating area for one of their restaurants near the marketplace area that had a view of both, like, the lead into the main marketplace that's kind of covered, and also the outside part where there's like a walking path where, a lot of the, characters who are just kind of, rambling by will go. So once I kind of set up there and I put a food order in on the mobile thing and was waiting for it, like within about 5 or 10 minutes, I saw Ahsoka. So
Nice.
I immediately grabbed my bag and, headed out, and yeah, I finally got to have, a picture with Ahsoka, because, you never know. I kind of assume that they're eventually going to announce that they're doing a season 2 of Ahsoka, and obviously she's still an important character, and, a whole lot of other stuff in the Clone Wars and everything. So it's not like the character's going away, but, they don't always, not every character stays in rotation, all the time. So
yeah.
I have no idea if they were going to be, still having her out and about, in 2024, by the time I can get back there. So I wanted to see if I could, with her, and I did. And there were a lot of characters out in force for a Wednesday afternoon, because I saw Kylo Ren walking around with a couple of the First Order troopers. I saw Boba Fett, who I'd never seen in person before. I saw Rey and Chewbacca walking around. then I saw Ahsoka, and then when I sat down and started working on my thing, and then as I was at the table at one point, a couple hours later, I was like, working on some stuff, and then like, suddenly there was like a person right here, like standing up, next to my table where I was sitting down, and I was like, oh, am I in somebody's way? And I looked up, and it was Fennec Shand, the character played by, I forgot her name now, Ming Na Wen. That's it. It was that was from the book, from Mandalorian, the book of Boba Fett, and she was walking right there with Boba Fett, and a bunch of people were trying to take pictures, and I'm like, it's like, oh, Fennec Shand is like right in front of my face right now. Okay, so I just kind of leaned over for whoever's taking their picture, and I just kind of got my phone out, and I was like, click,
ADHD Rocks Pod wants to know if Mando is still a character in the park.
He still is. I haven't seen him. I mean, I didn't see him yesterday, but I assume he's still out and about. He was there when I went to when Carrie and Alex last came to visit. He was out and about, and I assume he still does his thing.
Cool.
Yeah. So I'll have to ask. Actually, I should ask Kalani. If she's seen Mando more recently, because she goes to the park a lot more than I do, because she lives closer to it, and she has the much better she has another one of the higher level keys that she can basically go to the park whenever she wants. What else did I do this week? I finally kind of got myself organized with my to-do list to figure out what major things need to get done in my life, and I managed to get a few of them done. I put the Luke Ski Top 50 up on Spotify as a playlist. That was one of the things I did. I a few months back, I messaged Art Paul Schlosser about buying some of his CDs, because I want to be, I like to support my friends who put out physical media still, and I buy their albums. So it had been a couple of years since I checked in with him, and he's had like 6 albums, in the past 2 or so years.
He's had 35 albums released in the past 2 years.
Yeah. I mean, it's so that and okay. So I sent him a check so that he'll send those to me, so that I could have them for my collection. But the funny thing is, because everyone's posting their Spotify wrap-up lists, is that, over the past year, I've been trying to get caught up on my mixtaping project, for the years 2021 and 2022. So to make sure I didn't fall behind with the Art Paul stuff that I hadn't bought on CD yet, I was listening to them on Spotify, throughout the year, so that I could pick out what tracks I liked. And, I just went and bought a bunch of individual tracks on on iTunes, while I was waiting to, reasonably afford sending him the money for the CDs. So, because iTunes tracks are only like 99 cents each. So, but I was listening to all those albums on Spotify because he puts them all up there. So that's the reason why my Spotify Wrapped has Art Paul Schlosser as my number 1 act of the year. And a similar thing happened to you.
Yeah, you are my number 1 act of the year, because you put up all of your albums, and I just, as you put them up, I listen to them. So I listen to your entire discography, and you are my number 1 artist for the year. Right up there with Cannibal Corpse, Ailstorm, Carcass, and Worm Quartet. So you're in good company. And actually, it said I am your top 0.1% of listeners. I don't know if you can get higher than that.
Well, and that's the thing, because I was specific, and I didn't even have the Spotify Wrapped thing in mind when I was doing all this stuff months ago. But I was specifically asking people back then, hey, as I'm putting these, as I'm putting my old albums up on Spotify, please re-listen to them to prepare for doing the Luke Ski Top 50 poll. So in the Spotify Wrapped rankings thing, and it says like the number of people for whom I'm their number 1 artist, and I had like 14 or 15. I was like, that's, and for a split second I'm like, that can't possibly be true. And then I realized, oh wait, they all listened to all of my albums over the course of 5 months. That's why that's a thing. So that's very likely not going to be the case next year. So, but in any case, for my more or less debut year of getting all my music up, it was pretty interesting information. Because I was expecting my number one artist and album to be Bonnie Gordon, because I think her album Con Artist is the one I've listened to the most over the course of the year, at least on Spotify. Mm-hmm. So
if Weird Al is your number one most listened to artist, he recorded a video. You can see it online it's like a thank you video.
I saw it.
It's really funny. And the Chris, I forget his last name, the lead singer of Ailstorm, did the same thing because they were my number one artist. No, you were number one. I think Ailstorm was number two. But because, I don't know, I guess you didn't feel like recording a thank you video for Spotify or something. No. But yeah, I got an Ailstorm thank you video from Christoph is his name.
Yeah, I didn't know that was an option because I'm still so new to
Well, no, I'm just kidding. I don't think they reached out. They would have reached out to specific artists. I don't think you were on their radar.
So yeah. Speaking of Spotify silliness, and we may have mentioned this last week on the show, but there's a new entity on the internet called Nerdcore Nexus, and they asked Megaran to put together a playlist that was the title of the playlist is Nerdcore, where it started, and so Megaran made this amazing playlist. Like the luminaries of the nerdcore scene that just kind of really spotlight all of the amazing stuff, and so it's like the good news is there's tracks on there by Devo Spice. Spider-Verse is on there, which of course features Insane Ian and and me and One Up and Lexicon Artist and Kyle and Bonnie. And then in the initial version he put out, the track that was chosen to represent the Great Luke Ski was my cover of the second year of Deer Camp. At which, and I'm assuming that track was chosen because they went to the Great Luke Ski, whether it was Nerdcore Nexus or whether it was Megaran, they went to the Great Luke Ski Spotify page and saw that that's my, like other tracks of mine have whatever, low thousands of listens, but then the second week of Deer Camp has 60,000 listens, and they're like, oh, well, if that's his most popular track, we'll just throw that on there without actually listening to it to realize it's, first of all, it's not hip hop. Second of all, it has nothing to do with being nerdy. So I messaged Megaran and I said, hey, that track, I really appreciate being put on that list, but that track is a cover and doesn't really represent me. Would you be willing to swap it out for Stealing Like a Hobbit? Because it's, my fan voted, most popular song, and it was number one on Dr. Demento in 2003, and blah, blah, blah. And he was like, oh, yeah, sure, cool. So he deleted Deer Camp and then added Stealing Like a Hobbit. If I wanted to get nitpicky about it, it's like he put, because originally Second Week of Deer Camp was right next to Spider-Verses, but then when he deleted that and added Stealing Like a Hobbit ended up at the bottom of the list. And then one more track by was added. So it's now I'm at the bottom of the list. I'm like, I kind of wish I was up next to Devo Spice, but
people are gonna.
If anybody makes it that far down the list, they'll hear my track.
People listen on shuffle anyway, so you'll be fine.
Yeah. So, but I mean, still, it was a major honor that they thought enough of me to want to include me.
I was very happy when I saw Spider-Verses was on that. I was very happy to be included because I'm usually not included when there's any kind of list of nerdcore anything. I am never on it, so I was very happy to be on this list.
So that was the thing. Something else that happened this week is I got one of those things. I keep forgetting what the term for it is. It's a sorry, traffic. What is that thing called? It's something with G and an F in it. It's a Goral Find. Goral Find. That sounds familiar.
It's a Goldfinger.
That's what it is. I have a girlfriend.
Oh, nice. Okay, so not a Goldfinger. Okay.
Yes. A Goldfinger would be nice, but Kalani, who I've mentioned before, is now officially my girlfriend.
Yay.
So that's a thing. So it's weird because now I have a girlfriend. I haven't had a significant other in my life in over 8 years, and it's like, it's just, I mean, I know how to do it. It's just strange to be like, wow, I have one of those again. This is weird. This person likes me and wants to hang out with me. I'm not sure what to do with this information. So, but yeah, Kalani's awesome. And if I weren't in the middle of stupid traffic. By the way, the reason why I'm in traffic right now is because I took this weekend off coming up because a friend of ours, who, if you listen to the Escape from Walt Disney podcast, you're familiar with the mad scientist Agatha File.
Mm-hmm.
None of us have ever actually met her in person, but she's actually coming out to California this weekend, and we're going to be hanging out. And I wanted to make sure that I'd have time to hang out with her and Tony and everybody else. So I actually asked for both Saturday and Sunday off. So I thought, as a means of making myself more available for work during the week, that I would say that I was available on Thursday night, hoping that they wouldn't schedule me, or that, but lo and behold, they scheduled me. And not only did they schedule me, they gave me the type of shift I hate the most. These stupid dynamic shifts where I have to drive out to the San Gabriel Valley. And it's just barely started raining a little bit, and any amount of moisture that comes from the sky makes LA people lose their minds.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all in all, what my week has been, besides, eating nummy Thanksgiving food prepared by Kalani. What have you been up to?
Yeah, it's so weird that Thanksgiving was last Thursday. It feels like it was much longer ago. We did Thanksgiving with my in-laws, and then not much else. I don't remember what else happened as far as Thanksgiving goes. I actually had a fairly productive week. I got the title graphics done for my short film. Fairly intense title graphics, and it's the first thing I've done that's managed to bring this computer to its knees. Like, you get a 50,000 pixel wide JPEG on top of another 50,000 pixel wide JPEG and do a soft mask from one to the other in Premiere. Does not like that one bit. So I had to figure out a different way to do it, which I did, and it looks really cool. It'll be better once there's music behind it, but I'm really happy with it so far. I also finally got the music done for my Tom Lehrer cover, and I'm really happy with that. I still need to record the vocals, which I was going to do earlier today, and then work went nuts, and we just finished working literally like 5 minutes before I started the call. So hopefully tomorrow I will have a chance to finish up my song, and then we can get this thing out. 'Cause I got the other last song I was waiting for today. So
Yay!
That album is done pending my song, and then so hopefully I can finish it all up this weekend, and we can start selling it on Monday. I started a new...
See, my big concern with the ticking clock is Tom Lehrer is 95.
Yes, I know.
I want him to hear the album, which he has said that he wants to hear.
Yes.
So please, let's get the album done and get it to him so he hears it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I started a new sitcom class with my acting class, and that was a lot of fun. I watched the new Doctor Who, which I was all excited about because I haven't had Doctor Who in a while. Watched it twice, actually. Liked the episode. Didn't think it was like the greatest episode ever or anything, but I did really enjoy it. It really felt like a return to form after some of the crap we've gotten over the past couple of years with I keep wanting to call him Chinball, but I know that's wrong. Chibnall. And just, yeah. But, I was very happy with the new episode.
I mean, I loved Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor. I loved, her portrayal of that character and stuff, but just somehow most of the stories with her just never, I don't know, grabbed me like,
yeah.
you know.
It was just the writing. It was lousy. And, I mean, she was great. And there were some good episodes. I really enjoyed the was it Resolution of the Daleks? It was the time loop one they did for New Year's last year, the year before.
Oh yeah.
That one I really liked. I thought that was one of her best episodes. But then they did that god awful Sea Devils episode. Holy crap, that was a disaster. Oh my god, that was a mess. Anyway, so yeah, it was.
There were some people in.
Go ahead.
There were some people in the Lower Decks Facebook group, going they had this character called the Meep, just after we had Moopsie.
Yes.
And everyone had to I want you all to point out, this is adapted from a comic made in 1980 and shows, all the pictures of the comic version of Meep. And it's oh, okay, fine.
I had the same thought, but I didn't even know about the comic, but I was figured it was just parallel thinking. I'm sure it wasn't one of them ripping off the other. But I didn't realize how much I missed Donna until I saw her again.
Oh, Donna's fucking awesome.
She is amazing. So it was so good to see her again. And I love the new opening sequence, the title graphics and stuff with the timeline and stuff, because I never really cared for the clock one that they did with Capaldi, and even I forgot what I didn't remember what Jodie's looked like. Was it still the clocks?
No, I think hers was more of a 70s lava lamp psychedelicness.
I'll have to look it up. I don't even remember it, but yeah, so I really liked the new intro graphics and the logo, which is very, very reminiscent of the 1970s diamond logo. It's almost the same. There's some little differences, but it's a nice update to that logo. It's just so cool. So yes. All right.
Plus, it seemed. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Just I don't know the specific amounts or economics or whatever, but now that they've teamed up with Disney, making this a Disney Plus, joint, it's oh shit, we got money for effects now. I mean, you know, the Meep looks amazing. Yeah.
And
anyway.
I loved the design of the Roth warriors. I mean, they were really cool looking. In that same they were cheesy Doctor Who villain looking, but still really cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. If you have a minute, go.
Hmm?
No, I was going to say, if you have a minute, go look up what the original comic characters look like and compared to, with the live action versions, and the Wrath Warriors, are pretty dang accurate to what the comics look like.
Nice. Awesome. All right. Let's talk about some music, shall we? Give us a quick intro to your song and we will give it a listen.
Well, you know what? It's I'm 5 minutes away from making this delivery. Maybe it would make more sense if you put the Dead by 28 song and interview first, so that way I could sign off, do this delivery, and then sign back on.
Okay.
Would that make sense?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
Dead by 28 song is 2.5, 3 minutes, and then there's a 12-minute interview, so you got 15 minutes, and I'll do the news and just sign back on whenever you're ready.
Okay, cool.
All right, cool. So here is the other Tom Lehrer song cover that we posted this week. This is Selling Out by Dead by 28.
Selling out, it's easy to do. why. If you really haven't had or it means that your price is very high. So remember when you start to preach and moralize that we all are in the game and brother, it's a name is compromise. It's so nice to have a
I'm here with Dead by 28. How you doing, guys?
Awesome.
Great. Nice to be here.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
So tell us about Selling Out.
It's something you have to do nowadays, and probably always since the dawning of time. Oh,
Yeah,
you mean the song?
Yeah, the song. I mean, that too, but the song. Considering Tom Lehrer wrote this song, when was the original? Was this late 50s, early 60s?
Have no idea about that fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, I assumed 50s, 60s. And exactly, that's part of the fun of the song,
how well it's held up.
Yeah, and when people look back at the 50s, 60s, they don't think about the whole selling out. You wouldn't think most people or anyone was would write a song about selling out.
Oh, wow. This one's from 1973.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
According to Genius.com.
Can you cut out everything I just said?
No.
Dead by 28. We're happy to be here today.
Wow, 73. But it's still I guess most of what I said still stands. Frickin'.
Oh, yeah, totally. I mean, 73 was 50 years ago because I know that was the year I was born. So
probably, yeah.
And
we've always been like this. I'm this is exactly the Tom Lehrer song that I wanted to do, because we're a punk rock band, so selling out is something it's weird nowadays. Selling out is cool, but I've always 90s punk rock kid, selling out is that's the enemy.
yeah,
But
exactly.
now it's cool. Now
90s
people are oh, your brand.
Yeah, 90s hip hop was the same
what-
way. People, artists, as soon as they got popular, they were always accused of selling out.
You got to do what you got to do to get
Yeah.
the money. Oh, your brand, blah blah blah. I'm oh, that's not what I'm about. I'm punk rock, motherfucker.
And that's why we don't have any money, right?
We were quite surprised that one was still available, because by the time we got involved with the tribute, there was a lot of Tom Lehrer songs already claimed. So
Yes.
Yeah.
we were very thankful that we were able to find one that was representative of what we were trying to do as well.
Yeah, but to be fair, we have a different style of taste than most people, so it would make sense that we would pick a song that most people didn't care about.
So this was your first choice.
Oh yeah, definitely. I have a
Cool.
different style. It's selling out, dude. That's my style.
There are definitely other Tom Lehrer songs that I think we could have pulled off great,
Yeah,
but
but-
this was the one that we were okay, we can add to this. This will be fun to do.
Yeah, I don't like doing stuff that is already well known and popular. I like taking something more lesser known and
The
make
obscure.
and doing it my own way, our own way.
Yeah, stuff that's lesser known, it's sometimes easier to put your own spin on it because people don't. It's
Yeah.
not so ingrained in their brains that they have an expectation
Yeah.
of what's going to come.
Definitely going to be a lot tougher to pull off, one of his top songs, and then everybody's going to compare it to the original than something like this, which, the average Tom Lehrer fan might know, but most other people are just going to think, hey, selling out, this is, what is this that you're talking about?
Yeah, and that's just our style. We're the lesser known type of people.
Yeah.
Dead by 28. Who the fuck is that?
But I love your sound, and it works very well with Selling Out. I love what you did with it.
I will say that I am very happy with the way it sounds and how it turned out.
we definitely did not go in confident that we were going to make it the song that turned out. It just, as it evolved and we kept putting more and more time into it, it definitely turned out better than we had hoped.
The musically, it really like sounds really great because of like our guitar player and our new bass player and the drummer. Like they are very like talented musical wise. Like if you listen to it, like the bass is great, the fucking drums are like on, and the guitar, it's just like it's like they did like a very good job.
This was a good song for them because this was a style that they were all interested in, especially our bass player and our drummer were much more interested in this style than most of the music that we do. So this gave them a chance to shine on a Dead by 28 song.
Yeah, this is a less punk rock song. Like we usually throw punk rock shit at them, and they're more like a classically trained, jazz trained, all that kind of crap. I'm punk rock.
Yeah, all that kind of crap. Yeah, I'm familiar with all that kind of crap. So you have a new bass player.
Yeah.
Newish. He's been around for about 6 months now. Some of the material that we've been releasing has him on it.
Yeah.
He's going to be on the entire next album that we've been working on for a while. But we've been putting out cover songs with him on it just to kind of throw them out there. But they're, he's still relatively new as opposed to everybody else in the band who's been working with us on and off for, our drummer for quite a few years, our guitar player for 20 years. So, by that comparison, he's relatively a baby.
Yeah, 20 years, long time.
Yeah.
Do you feel old? Because I feel old.
I feel very old, yes.
I feel very old, too.
Yeah, nothing you can do about that. Just, you get old, it sucks, and then you get older and it sucks more. And then you get really old and it really sucks. And that's about it.
Really sucks. And then you die.
Yeah. And end of story. Yep.
Unless you're dead by 28 and then you're immortalized afterwards. But I think we'll not be so lucky.
So what else you guys have going on?
We've been like we're working heavily on our album, but that's like under wraps. But we've also just been throwing out the singles. Like we had a Halloween song that we tried to get on the FuMP, but it's okay.
Yeah, that's my fault. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Nobody's
but
fault.
It's entirely my fault because there were a whole bunch of songs in the queue that just got missed because of FuMPFest, and then some of them have been since scheduled, but since yours was a Halloween song, it was like, well,
it was a last minute idea. Like he freaking, I want to say the beginning of October, he was like, oh, it's a bummer that we don't have a Halloween song, and I was like, nothing I'm working on is Halloween based at all. It's all album based, but I could try to knock something out, and like somehow I just fucking knocked it out.
Might have been the quickest he's ever turned around lyrics to a song.
It was weird.
So it was a good accomplishment, even if it was released a different way than we expected. And it was also a good learning lesson because now we're working on a Christmas song. And had we not made that mistake with the Halloween song, we might have mixed out on the Christmas song because we just weren't giving ourselves enough time between when the song was going to be finished and when it needed to go live.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're like scheduling February at this point, so
I know.
So I've learned my lesson, and I have a slot reserved for you. But I need to rearrange all of December anyway, so that the Christmas songs
it's not like
go
too nasty for you.
No. It'll be fine. I'm sure.
Pretty nasty.
Okay, good.
Yeah, even for us, so be prepared. But, if you need to move it around any which way, feel free to do whatever you want with it. It's definitely a holiday song, but if it comes out on the currently scheduled time, then it's the perfect day for it.
I just want the Christmas songs we have in the queue to be around Christmas, because it seems silly to put like a Christmas song out on December 2nd, and then the song that goes up Christmas Eve is not a Christmas song. It's like, let's switch those around a little bit,
Our song is a very Christmas Eve song. So.
And I would say that the FuMP every year, at least for the last few years, is like definitely lots of Christmas songs come out. So there's a lot of competition to get those December spots, I'm sure.
Yeah, our artists like to do a lot of Christmas songs.
Yeah.
We're guilty. This is now kind of our second. The Festivus song was the first song that ever got us on the FuMP.
Technically, that's a Festivus song. Yeah, whatever.
But it's a holiday song. It's a holiday season song. It's good.
I like doing. I don't know. I'm a fan of holiday season songs. I know you wouldn't think of it. You wouldn't think it looking at me, but like I kind of like I'm a big fan of the Xmas.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to say Christmas.
Okay,
Makes
fair.
like conservatives too happy.
Nice. All right. So, do you guys have any big plans for the holiday?
Yeah.
Okay. Fair.
We have some spillage.
I made myself laugh on that one.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Our main plans are to release a Christmas song through the FuMP.
Yeah.
It's going to be a standalone single. It's something that we've been working on for about the last 2 months pretty heavily. And I think it's came out pretty great. So we're excited to release that and to see what happens when it is released.
My
Awesome.
plan is ho, ho, ho.
Ho, ho, ho. That's a good plan. I can get behind that.
Ho, ho, ho.
All right. So, do you have anything you'd like to plug? Tell people where they can get the Halloween song.
Or
Well,
YouTube.
Right now, the
Spotify,
Halloween song is
Apple
available.
Music.
Yeah, anywhere where Dead by 28 music is available. Apple Music, Spotify,
I think
iTunes,
it's even on
YouTube.
Facebook.
We made a little AI video with a lyric video for
Yeah.
it. Nothing as cool as the Selling Out video, which was fun to actually get out and shoot a video in person again for the first time in a while.
That was really fun. That was like a blast, actually. Like we were in a parking lot, and while like after we were done shooting, we were like cleaning up. Someone like stopped their car and like opened their window and was like, "Hey man, I sell out for money too." And I was like, "Yeah, we all do." He's like, "Hey man, good luck with your shit." And I was like, "Thanks, man."
While we were filming, we got the token guy driving by in a car yelling, "Play some Skinnerd." So that was nice too.
That was also funny.
So
Play some Skinnerd.
When you see the camera start to shake,
Yeah.
it's me laughing because
Yeah.
people are driving by at like 1 PM.
Free bird!
Yelling the shit out their car windows to us as we're recording this video in the
Yeah.
Kroger parking lot.
I deserve that though because I do that like anytime if I'm at a concert. Free bird, play some Skinnerd. I'm a dick,
And a heckler.
and I'm a dick. Dick. Let's not sugarcoat it. I'm a fucking dick.
All right.
Well, on that note,
I feel that's a good place to end it,
Yep.
isn't it?
I think so too.
great to be here again, and
I
we
love
hope
you.
that you enjoy Selling Out and the upcoming Christmas song. And look for that Spooky Witch anywhere where Dead by
Yeah.
28 music's available.
And say hi to the great Luke Ski.
Will do. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
Yep.
you.
And,
Thank you for having me.
We will catch you next time.
See you then.
I hope so.
This is the FuMP.
But it isn't too hard. I've got the Liar's Clue and the Vegas parody and some video game versions I can play on my screen. 24 and Busters says I like those properties and the Scout the Wise Clue because I give the charities. Of course I have the movie and the documentary too. And this is for everyone who says I don't have a clue.
And in the end, when I was facing a fate worse than death, she became a wraith of joy and rescued me and set us free. Not bad for the first season of Ballet McGee.
I mean, when it comes down to it, you kids are jiggy,
No.
crunk,
No.
trill,
No.
funky fresh,
No.
and stupid death.
No.
Yeah.
That's the Funny Music Project at thefump.com. THEFUMP.com.
Now don't you bury that gauge. Bury that gauge at twilight. Boy.
40.
Time for funny music news. Something.
In the news, there really isn't a whole lot of news, but I can promote that tomorrow, December 1st, is Bandcamp Friday. Yes, that wonderful time of the year when Bandcamp waives its fees and gives all of the money to the artists. So if you would like to support your favorite funny musician on Bandcamp, tomorrow would be a good day to do it. That's really all I got. So let's do tour dates and hope Luke comes back soon. On Sundays in Nashville, Tennessee, Steve Goody hosting at the Bluebird. On Sundays online, Two Sleeps. On Mondays online, Steve Goody and Brad Tassel at virtualcomedyshow.com. On the 2nd, in Santa Rosa, California, Phil Johnson and Roadside Attraction. On the 3rd, online, Escape from the Secret Lab featuring the Consortium of Genius. On the 6th, in Voorheesville, New York, Drew Jacobs. On the 7th, in Meta Worlds Online, Phil Johnson and Roadside Attraction. Also on the 7th, online, Carla Ulbrich. On the 8th, in Napa, California, Phil Johnson and Roadside Attraction. And the weekend of the 8th and 9th in Doylestown, Pennsylvania, Carla Ulbrich. And we got a couple of birthdays coming up. This Saturday, the 2nd, is Mikey Mason. And then coming up on the 6th is Lauren Mayer. So happy birthday, folks. And let's see if we can get Luke back. Otherwise, this is going to be a very hollow flock. I don't know. Yes, Voorheesville. I don't know where that is. You know what? Let's look it up. We got time. It's probably upstate because Drew is up in the Albany area. Voorheesville, New York. Yeah, it's just east of Albany. And there is a Voorhees, New Jersey, too, I believe. Oh, there's a Voorhees Township, New Jersey, which is down by Philadelphia. All right. Yeah, I got nothing else. So maybe we should play Luke's song, and then we'll talk about it. And hopefully he'll be here by then. I'm just going to text him and tell him I'm going to play his song. Join us if you can. All right. So here is the other Tom Lehrer cover that we posted this week. This is the great Luke Ski with the Vatican Rag.
I used to be Irish Catholic. Now I'm an American. You know, you grow.
First you get down on your knees, fiddle with your rosaries, bow your head with great respect and genuflect, genuflect, genuflect. Do whatever steps you want if you have cleared them with the pontiff. Everybody say his own, Kyrie eleison, doing the Vatican Rag. Get in line in that processional, step into that small confessional. They're the guy who's got religion'll tell you if your sin's original. If it is, try plain and safer. Drink the wine and chew the wafer. 2, 4, 6, 8. Time to transubstantiate. This dance craze has survived 6 popes and 3 Da Vinci Code movies. But if they really, really want to sell the product in this atheistic age, here's some new dance steps that they may want to try. First, let women become priests. Welcome the LGBTs. Birth control you must accept. Let them contracept, contracept, contracept. Vexed by some women beguiling. Don't lock them in an asylum. Throw them all a mass rave, not into a mass grave. Doing the Vatican Rag. If you meet some folks indigenous, let them keep their own religions. Share the wealth and pour the Hennessy. When you decry white supremacy, take a dance class, learn some hustling. From a Jew or from a Muslim. Rejoice, make noise, hands off all those altar boys. So get down upon your knees, fiddle with your rosaries, bow your head with great respect and genuflect, genuflect, genuflect. Make a cross on your abdomen. When in Rome, do like a Roman. Ave Maria, gee, it's good to see ya. Getting ecstatic and sometimes problematic, but we're doing the Vatican Rag. Amen.
And Luke is back with us. Hi, Luke.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, your timing is perfect.
Okay.
I'm going to make you louder.
Hard to kick in and recognize that I'm trying to, do this. Whatever. Doesn't really matter. Basically, I was raised Catholic, and, when we originally started talking about all this, doing this, I was like, I want to do the Masochism Tango, because I had already kind of considered that a song that I maybe would want to cover someday. And then once we started asking around, Bonnie Gordon had told us that she was interested in doing it because she had already done a cover of that with another band at some point. So then I was like, all right, never mind. Let's have Bonnie Gordon do the Masochism Tango because that's going to sound amazing.
Yeah.
And I'll figure out another track to do. So I was going
and
through
it
the
does.
list of,
It really does.
see if I hit that. I'm trying to figure out how to. I hate Bluetooth so fucking much.
It sucks. It really does. It's a terrible technology.
Turn my car off and then turn it back on and see if that makes a difference. So it'll like actually catch up to the fact that I'm trying to do the thing I was literally just doing. Anyway, so I was looking at other tracks I was considering. I was thinking of doing the song LY because I don't know, I always really liked that track from the Electric Company, and I don't know, there were some others where I was considering, but then it kind of dawned on me, like, well, as someone who was raised Catholic, it would seem to make sense for me to do the Vatican Rag, and also the thought occurred to me because that song is so short, like if you take off, his intro and outro, that song is like just barely over a minute long, the live version that everybody knows.
A lot of his songs are like that, actually.
Yeah. So your voice is so quiet because it's going through my car, and it's
weird.
Pull over here while I'm talking about it. Video participants, chats, reaction, share, whiteboard notes.
Isn't technology wonderful?
Audio. Did my audio go away?
Briefly, but it appears to be back.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, now I can hear you through my car, so I can do this properly with you.
All right.
Cool.
Yes, and I can fix your volume.
I was raised Catholic. I was an altar boy and all that stuff. I basically once I got to college, I just kind of left. I have a lot of complicated feelings about, being raised Catholic. A lot of it has to do with my father because he was a Marine, but, he was also a Catholic, and he was kind of militant in the way he, dealt with Catholicism, kind of like, these are the rules, and like, I don't know, he would just get really upset about certain things, like, since I'm not on a highway, I can do this. I'll pull over real quick. For the visual people, like, how people, like, you have the praying hands where both the palms are together and the fingers are pointed up, know? So it's like, if you cross your fingers and like kind of hold your hands together like this, like that's another way people typically hold their hands, like if they're just like kneeling and praying or whatever. So I was doing that. And at one point I remember, like, on a ride home from church, like, my dad was angry and he was like yelling at us. It's like, why do you have your fingers folded like that? That's not how you're supposed to pray in church. And I'm like, they said that was okay in CCD class. And he was like, oh, it's like, he once yelled at me because when I got out of the pew, I genuflected, but I didn't do it facing the cross. I did it facing like the door because, I don't know, I was in a hurry or whatever. And he just like got mad at me. And like a lot of it to me felt like really performative. It was all about like keeping up images that we were like the perfect little Catholic family.
You shook your butt at the crucifix. That's what you did.
Yeah. Something like that. So and obviously the Catholic Church has a lot of problems with it, since 1865, when the Second Ecumenical Council of Rome aka Vatican II, did all that stuff that Tom Lehrer based, his song on. And I was thinking, well, why don't I just basically double the length of the song and write a bunch of new verses that could, be like, let's bring the Catholics up to speed on what they need to do to, make the Catholic Church more appealing to the general public. And there have been some, folks and high people, clergy or whatever, that have actually been like, relatively reasonable about things, why wouldn't we welcome gay people into our church? They're loved, by Jesus as well, and blah, 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 So, yeah. Just gonna do this. I went on Facebook back in September and I posted something to my friends saying, this, besides the most obvious thing, what are other, problems that the Catholic Church has had in the past, 58 years?
Okay. Funny thing about that post. My wife did not see it when you first posted it, but when you posted the link to the song as a comment to that post, then it showed up in her feed. So she saw it, the other day, and she was like, what argument is Luke trying to start now? And I was like, no. It was just a research for his song. Look, it's the song. It's a thing. It's fine.
Yeah. It's so basically, it was the kind of thing where, having been a person who did improv comedy for years, things that if you ask the audience, everyone's going to say the exact same thing. It's like, give me a happy occasion. Everyone's going to shout a wedding, or whatever.
Yeah.
Or give me a sad occasion. Everyone's going to shout a funeral. And that one always cracks me up because give me a sad occasion. Like, what's another well-established sad occasion besides something having to do with, like, a funeral, Like, breaking up with your, I don't know. It just, that kind of thing. So it's like, I knew that if I didn't say, besides the most obvious thing, what are other problems with the Catholic Church, that if I said, what's the problems with the Catholic Church, everyone was just going to talk about, all the child molestation stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, so I wanted to be like, yeah, I know. But other than that, what are other things that have been brought up? And a lot of people in that thread, brought up a lot of things that I basically took notes on to try to work into the song, some kind of mentions of in some roundabout way. I'd go through them all, but that's basically what the song is, going through them all. Like when I said, one thing that was a little bit kind of vague was, I said, share the wealth, that was basically meant to be a reference to them hoarding money and artifacts and stuff like that, and the fact that it's Vatican City where these big golden fucking, things everywhere, So the one thing that was a really interesting thing that made me go I hadn't specifically heard of that before, and that's particularly messed up. I'm going to have to figure out how to work this into the song. Was and if I had the thing in front of me, if I wasn't driving, I would say who the person is. I'll have to try to remember to give them credit next week. But somebody told me about this thing that happened in Ireland. I want to say it was like the Magdalena's churches or something like that. It was some long-standing, Catholic Church society thing that had been going on for centuries that basically was like, it's like, oh, we're going to, bring in, women who are in need of help to, give them the help that they need. But, by women in need of help, they meant basically, prostitutes, women who were gay, women who were just, I don't know, depressed, just, any whatever reason they needed to, it's, it kind of like, the witch trials, basically. It's like, oh, that woman's kind of, go throw her in here because, she looked at me weird or something. Mm-hmm. So they basically had all these women in there, and it was basically an asylum, and they would just lock them in there and do all kinds of, quote unquote treatments or therapies or exorcisms or whatever it was they were doing, torturing these women, to be right with the Lord or whatever the hell. And then often these women would die, and then they would just bury them in like these mass graves and stuff.
Yeah, I didn't hear about that either until I saw the thread. And it is messed up.
Yeah. So looking at the doing some research on that, it basically said that these churches existed as late as the 1970s. So it's just kind of like, it's just like, wow, okay, that is colossally messed up and absolutely deserves to be specifically shouted out in this song in some way. So, hence my lyrics, vexed by some women beguiling, don't lock them in an asylum, throw them all a mass grave, not into a mass grave. So I know that's a really flippant way to refer to it, but hey, this is supposed to be a Tom Lehrer type song, so yeah. So yeah, I think I particularly wrapped up Catholicism fairly well in that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And I knew that and before I even wrote anything else or posted that thing on Facebook, I knew that it was going to be, rejoice, make noise, hands off all those altar boys. And I considered instead being a bit more direct with it and saying, stop molesting altar boys, but I thought, maybe I'll just,
hands off is funnier, I think.
One slight notch. Everyone's like, yeah, because, if in theory Tom Lehrer was performing this, I don't think he would, go so far as to use those words.
Yeah.
It's like that whole Brown line from My Hometown, where he's, just kind of like, I better leave this off the song to be on the safe side, or leave off the record to be on the safe side. It's like, he's just kind of like dropping the hint, like, you all know what I'm talking about,
yes. Yeah.
So yeah, and the production side of it was originally I reached out to Lewis of the Cog to see if there was any way the Steam Cog Orchestra could maybe do a backing track for me, and they didn't really have the time or the resources to figure that out. But Lewis did find a MIDI track of the Vatican Rag that I could potentially use, and so I, put that MIDI track into GarageBand, and I was able to manipulate it into what I needed the structure of the song to be, but it was still very much a MIDI and very mechanical sounding. It didn't have that swing that that a song like this should have. And I was trying to figure out what to do about it, and I was basically going to start asking around to see if somebody could make a backing track for me, actually playing the piano. And then Steve Goody said something, and I asked Steve, and then Steve's like, well, I have the music from the Kaepernick Rag. And I'm like, I totally forgot that he did a parody of this song already about Colin Kaepernick because of the whole kneeling at the football games. Because the song begins with, first you get down on your knee. It's like, oh, I totally forgot that was a thing. So he had his friend Jody, whose last name I'm forgetting. It's on the FuMP page. You can go read it there.
Nardone?
Yeah, that's it. So Jody Nardone made his backing track for the Vatican Rag and basically said, let me go check with Jody that he's fine, that, that I'm going to let you use this track again. And Jody was fine with it, and I even Venmoed Jody some money to just kind of basically say, like, hey, you did the work, you deserve to get something, And then I hired Steve to mix it down for me. And again, I had to sit down and figure out how to, because even in Steve's version of the Kaepernick Rag, he did his own moving around of various musical parts to make it fit what he wanted to do. So then I had to take his cover / messing around with the Vatican Rag and then take those bits and then rearrange them in a way that made sense for me. So that was nifty. And then, I'm also particularly proud of the line, this dance craze survived 6 popes and 3 Da Vinci Code movies.
Yes. That was great.
It's just weird to think like that much time has passed since he put that song out.
I know. That's so weird.
Yeah. And then I also, just because, I haven't dropped a sound bite in a song in quite a while, but it just seemed like I wanted to put something in there that let the listener know on some level that the person who's saying this is a Catholic person or a person raised Catholic. So it's kind of like, if you're going to come at me for saying this stuff, it's like, this was what I was raised with. So I'm allowed to make fun of the thing I was raised in, so.
What's funny is I was raised Catholic too. And I somehow made it all the way through college before I found out that the church wouldn't let gay people get married. Like, I just assumed it was fine, like, the whole time growing up. And I don't know whether it was because I grew up in Connecticut, which is a far more liberal state than others, maybe, or what, or, I mean, I can tell you I didn't really pay all that much attention to the homilies in Mass, so maybe I just zoned out. But it wasn't until I was after college, after I graduated, I'm living in Rochester, and there was a priest that was performing wedding ceremonies for gay couples who was getting in trouble with the local diocese, and they actually moved him to some other diocese so he would stop. And I was like, why? What's the problem? And that was when I learned about the whole history, and I was like, how did I miss this? So
I kind of missed like the most important part of what you said just now. You said at the very beginning, you said it wasn't until you got into college that you realized what?
That the church has a problem with gay people and getting married.
Oh,
like,
okay.
I completely missed that.
Yeah, I remember Sam Kinison mentioning on one of his albums, some bit about, how Pope John Paul basically, I'm not going to say it using the language Sam Kinison did, but basically, that Pope John Paul were like, screw the gay people, like they don't matter to the Catholic Church because they're all sinners that are going to hell. Yeah. So the fact that, that a lot of the people in higher positions in the Catholic Church now, seem to not have that attitude. That's a good thing. But yeah.
Baby steps. Steps.
Yes. So basically, I put that soundbite of George Carlin at the beginning, saying, I used to be Irish Catholic. Now I'm an American. You grow. And I even tried to edit out the word Irish because, I don't think I technically have Irish in me. and also the church I was raised in wasn't specifically an Irish Catholic church. So, but after a bunch of attempts of me to try to edit out the word Irish, I decided it's too much of an obvious edit. I'll just leave it in. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
The point is that I'm Catholic is me getting that, point across at the top of the song, which also I found fitting because George Carlin played Cardinal Glick in the movie Dogma, which is why I put his photo on the page of the FuMP, because I just felt it was fitting.
Yes.
So anyway, I know you've obviously, like you said before, you've heard all of the tracks that are going to be on this album.
Mm-hmm.
I've only heard, a decent amount of them of things that were posted at the FuMP. I've heard Tony Goldmark's track because he sent it to me when he finished it up. And, it's phenomenal. I am so psyched for this album to come out because I think it's going to be.
It's really good. It is so good.
Yeah. So, I guess as far as other Lewski news goes, I do have plans / intentions to make new music in the coming year. I have grabbed FuMP posting slots for both January 16th and the Tuesday following MarsCon in March. So I am hoping I'll have, a new track on each of those days done. And I've, been starting to take notes and everything, but also I'm probably at least a little bit behind on actually starting to work on MarsCon related things. So I need to start sending off emails to people and getting things organized. in particular, I need to get a hold of Byron and Chris about getting the live recordings from last year, so I can start putting together the fundraiser album.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm at this point where it's like, okay, I got past a certain amount of stuff, and I've redone my to-do list, and I'm going to do my best to try to stay focused and work on a thing. And also, I'm still waiting to hear back from Knott's Berry Farm on whether or not they're going to, give me that temporary job of hosting their Peanuts things during their Peanuts celebration. I mean, if I haven't heard from them by like this Tuesday or so, I'm going to assume that they just chose not to hire me, which is fine. I can continue working my dumb day job as I am right now. But, but yeah, it's so excited for the album, the Lair album to come out. It's like, I mean, from a merchandising point of view, having it come out right, when it's Christmas shopping season, makes a lot of sense.
I really wanted it for FuMPFest, but what are you going to do?
Yeah. And speaking of merchandising for the holiday season, it just dawned on me the other day, like, oh yeah, I actually have a CD I can sell for the holiday season, because somebody put in an order the other day for one, and I was like, oh yeah, that's a thing again. So I should probably, at some point soon pop on my social media and say, hey, if you want to buy a Luke Ski CD for somebody as a gift, put your orders in now so they get to you in plenty of time. Yep. So that would be Needlessly Meta, which is you can get at lukeski.bandcamp.com. And speaking of that, did you do a dementia breakdown on Needlessly Meta? I think you did.
I think I did.
I'll have to go back and
I'll have to check. I don't know.
I have a weird feeling that you did, and that maybe you played Progressive Love Song. I'm not sure. I'll have to go back into the Manic Mondays archives.
Yeah, so it would have been early in the year, like right after you released it. So it would have been January, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Luke Ski.
I'm passing San Dimas. Whoa.
All right, I play the Great Luke Ski, the song, on the 16th. Maybe I didn't. I don't see it in the notes.
Well, better late than never, Devo Spice.
I played Progressive Love Song in March. Either I didn't do it or it's not in the notes for some reason. I played Grease Wars in June. No Sleep Till Babylon in May. Huh. All right. Well. Anyway.
add that to your to-do list, because there's one thing Luke likes to do is coming up with more shit for Devo to do.
Yeah. You're very good at it.
It's like there's other people in my life who come up with more shit for me to do, so I just have to kind of pay it forward. Like, if I got to do shit for other people, Devo's got to do shit for me. God damn it! So anyway, all right. Well, that's it. thegreatlukesky.com, lukeski.bandcamp.com. I'm on all my music's on all the social media places, and yeah. So there you go, everybody. I'm glad y'all liked it.
All right. Let's do some feedback.
Making the internet absolutely ridiculous. Dementia Radio.
www.dementiaradio.org. Port 8027.
Please hang up and try again.
This is the part where there's feedback. Feedback. You know that segment of the show we do about now? Feedback. Feedback.
Feedback. Brett Glass wrote, geez, I really ought to know the name of the song Joe parodied. Maybe I'll figure it out by summer. Samba of some kind or another. Yes, and I'm not going to tell you what it is because I forgot again. I did know it at one point, and I forgot again, so I can't tell you.
Is it Mambo number 5?
No, it's not.
Oh.
All right, that's all the feedback we got. So,
okay.
Teasing. He's a teasing kind of guy. Now you have a jingle. Yeah.
All right. I'm wondering how much I should tease because I do have to rearrange the schedule a little bit. Although I think tomorrow's song should probably stay, and then and then that, and then the Christmas song start. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to move Tuesday's song. Tomorrow's song is by an old artist performing under a new name. So I'm just going to leave you with that. And then Tuesday's song, I got to move around. Although, actually, let me make sure the song I'm putting does not. All right. I'm about to get in touch with the artist, make sure. All right. Great Luke Ski is at thegreatlukeski.com. Dead by 28 are they at deadby28.com? I don't know. Yeah, I think they are. Let's find out. They're on facebook.com/deadby28 is their Facebook page. All right. And Spotify playlist topic. I'm going to start up with the Christmas music starting tomorrow. So it'll be Christmas from here on out through Christmas. So, and don't forget, there is that Spotify comedy Christmas playlist that I put together that you can find on Spotify. I think it's like 2.5 hours of funny Christmas songs. And if anyone knows of any that are not on the playlist, let me know and I'll try to add them. All right.
Hey, did anybody cover Tom Lehrer's A Christmas Carol for our album?
No.
Because that would have been the ultimate perfect irony if somebody had, and then we posted it at the FuMP on Christmas to promote selling the Tom Lehrer Christmas album with Tom Lehrer's song being against anti-capitalism of Christmas.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah. It's a little late now, but yeah. We did almost have a latecomer the other day. There's another artist emailed me and was like, and I was like, well, here's the songs that are left. And he's like, yeah, I can't do any of those. I'm like, oh. All right, let's get out of here. Thank you for listening to the Funny Music Podcast. I'm Devo Spice.
I'm Luke Ski, and Dead by 28 were here before.
They were, and so was Tom Lehrer, sort of.
Thank you for listening to the Funny Music Podcast. You can listen live every Thursday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific at DementiaRadio.org and join us in the chat. Or subscribe to the podcast feed. Look us up on iTunes and be sure to leave us a review. Feedback for the show can be sent to info@thefump.com. The Funny Music Podcast is a production of Fidem Interactive, LLC, released under a Creative Commons share-alike license. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, shout it to random people on the street, and be sure to visit thefump.com for the latest funny songs. Tune in next week where you'll hear Luke Ski say,
hey, Devo, I'm going to write a song called The Christmas FuMP Shuffle about when you have to shuffle around FuMP songs in Christmas, so give me another slot and you'll have to shuffle the songs again.